So let me start with the Banqup, which is our value proposition for small and medium entrepreneurs. So Banqup platform is a payment gateway helping small medium businesses to pay their invoices and actually collect money from their clients, strictly integrated with the documents flow. So Banqup platform can support issuing invoices, account receivables to your customers, including the integrated payment links, and also collecting your purchase documents and paying those documents directly from the platform using different bank connectors we are developing. One of the important aspects of Banqup platform is also the connection with the e-invoicing, which will become mandatory in 2024. We will talk about this a little bit later today. And based on that, we also want to address the requirements for a little bit bigger companies like mid-size and large-size companies, which are on one hand, we call it large billers. So they are issuing a large volumes of the invoices to their customers and business customers and also consumers. And also they are collecting significant volumes of the purchase documents from their suppliers and the service providers. So new solutions that we are introducing to Polish market should allow them and significantly help to manage those two critical flows and also to connect to the Polish invoicing framework.
And maybe to add on what Christoph just said, those solutions now being called Collect and Channel address exactly those needs for mid-sized and large companies. And with doing that, we now complete the product portfolio that is now implemented also in Poland. As Banqup as well as Channel&Collect are all products based on the same network, which we call CrossNet, allowing all those customers to interact between each other. And that's more than 1 million companies already on that specific network.
Yeah, because as Marcus said, we cannot forget about the fact that exchanging the documents or payments are not only domestic, but there is still a lot of different documents exchanged between the countries, between the companies located in different geographies, EU countries. So we have a network which allows us to connect to almost any e-invoicing framework that exists currently and will be introduced in the near future.
Well, basically, Channel&Collect address all companies using any kind of ERP system as they can connect with every document and every data format, allowing really those companies to which have a volume of, for example, 5,000 to 10,000 invoices per year, but not only limited to those, but also including companies that act globally. So we address both needs, but the main benefit is probably for those mid-sized companies, as those products allow business automation out of the box, really quickly getting started and save money from the very beginning. So for example, we have customers like Siemens, like ABB, like Fresenius, where we solve complex issues, complex processes for them. Just if I may give you one example, which is e-procurement, where we really support those customers in comparing and matching order confirmation with orders, with invoices. So it's not only limited to invoices, it covers really the whole, what we call financial supply chain, from orders to order confirmation, dispatch advices, and obviously also invoices. So that's a typical case for more complex, but also for mid-sized companies. On the other hand, of course, we also support many pure invoice senders that want to be compliant with the national regulation. So we cover all national regulations already in more than 60 countries worldwide, as we will do for Poland as well, obviously. So that's a use case which is often used for those maybe just being able to send a PDF, but still to become compliant in that country. Well, this is exactly one of the big advantages of Collect and Channel, that they can really adapt to any kind of data format and protocol in order to connect to any ERP system. And as there are hundreds of different ERP systems around, that's a major advantage, and you don't depend on a specific data format. Really, it's completely independently of your existing IT infrastructure. And with that single connection that we allow from your ERP system to our network, you can manage all of your customers or suppliers with one single interface. That includes all these different formats. So we can not only handle XML, but also EDIFACT, CSV, PDF, obviously, different data protocols such as SFTP, AS2, AS4, REST API, etc. So a variety of technical setups are possible. But even more than that, it's also that we care about the different contents that is required for specific customers. So as one company, you might require specific information on an invoice in order to process it automatically. And even that can be checked on an individual basis to make sure you get all the content which is needed to automate your processes.
Especially important if you are dealing with corporate clients, and many times they are expecting you to provide procurement codes, PO numbers, different things which automate the process on their side, and you need to be ready to actually fulfill those requirements and provide this data in actually the format which is expected by your client. So flexibility and the way how you can configure the structure, but also the content, as Marcus said, of the invoice is very important. Just to automate the work on your side, but also being able to support your clients with their automations.
Typically, an ERP system is limited to the intra-company processes, whereas our solutions really help the customers to manage all their intercompany relations with suppliers and with customers. So that's one of the main differences. And also, typically, an ERP vendor is not used to act on a transactional basis. They're not used to cope with service level agreements, etc. And that's something we cover for those partners. And last but not least, of course, it's not only about being compliant, but it's about staying compliant. So it's not about just one time having an interface to a platform like KSEF in Poland. This is changing dynamically over time, and you need to cope with those changes all over that period. And that's why ERP vendors typically partner with us, just as Banqup now also did. They're about to connect the first customers in Poland already now. And what we do is we deeply integrate into their existing ERP system. It's a kind of a white labeling solution where the customer doesn't really recognize the difference. They act in their own environment, which they know from the ERP system, but still can use all the functionality that we provide with both Channel and Collect. Well, that's an important aspect to mention again. If we have a partner such as Banqup, then it's really by the click of a button that those products can be used. So in no time you can already use the solution because it's deeply integrated in that existing infrastructure. If it's not based on a partner solution, still the setup can be done independently of your IT infrastructure, as said before. But also doesn't take a long time. You can be ready within a few days, just doing a few tests, even though you might just provide a PDF format of your document. That conversion and setup can be done in, very quickly and just within 1 or 2 days.
We are targeting and we are helping our clients, and this is what we will do in Poland as well, to address the challenges that Marcus already said. For example, the omni-channel infrastructure, where you have a different ways of delivering or collecting your documents, as we said, old school PDFs, structure formats, documents coming from different suppliers, or you issuing different clients in different countries. So we are kind of the translator, which allows us to collect the documents from different sources and provide the documents to different sources in a very agnostic way, agnostic towards our customer. So that's the first main challenge. Secondly, all the companies in Poland, starting from the small companies, medium-sized towards large companies, will have to make a decision how they want to, first of all, be compliant with the e-invoicing that will be mandatory quite soon in Poland, but also how they want to benefit from it, because it's not only the compliance, it's also the opportunity for those companies to do their processes better, more efficient, and also to link the e-invoices with several value-added services. And this is also something we can help with. One of the example is to link the account receivable, so the invoice that you are issuing to your customer, with the payment method, with the payment button, with the QR code. So it means that you can not only deliver the invoice, but you can actually simplify the way the invoice will be paid. Yeah, so this is the second thing, providing value-added services on top of the e-invoices. And the third, but also very important, is for the companies which are trading internationally to be ready with not only the Polish framework, but also the existing e-invoicing frameworks in other countries, and all the different frameworks then that will actually appear on the market quite soon. Because Marcus, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the current perspective is that 2029, all the countries in Europe will have the e-invoicing as a mandatory solution, more or less. Yeah, this is what we expect.
We clearly expect that all countries across Europe will have a mandatory e-invoicing solution in place by then, latest by then.
So we help companies to trade domestically, to be compliant with the local regulations. And also we are helping them based on our experience and based on the number of connections and 25 years of experience that we have, to be connected on the European, but also international markets, to be a part of the global economy.
We don't connect those customers only to the crossnet, which I mentioned before, with the 1 million customers on our own network, but we also include external networks in that process. For example, where you have PayPal as a known network, external one, where we are certified access point and can reach all of the business partners which act within the PayPal framework, not only nationally, but also internationally. Not only Europe, but also Australia, Japan coming up, etc., etc. That's one. Second, it includes all these different CTC, so-called CTC compliance solutions across the world, where we are active in more than 60 countries and have links to those platforms as well. And last but not least, it's also about interoperability, because some of your business partners, whether suppliers or customers, might use other service providers where we have standard connections to based on the ESPA standards, European standards that were agreed, with providers like Buzzware, Comark, etc., where we have existing connections that can be used. So all over, you have a variety of possibilities to connect to all of your business partners, actually.
It's an answer of the Polish government towards the e-invoicing and what we call, what Marcus already mentioned, CTC, continuous transaction control. So what will happen? It will happen that beginning from January 2024, if you want to invoice your customer, it's not just enough to send a PDF document or send the paper document to your customer, but what is the most important part is actually to upload this document to KSEF. KSEF, it's a portal which is in the kind of the cloud which is managed by the Ministry of Finance. So first of all, you need to be prepared. You need to connect your system which is managing your invoicing towards KSEF. You need to be ready to translate your documents into the specific structure of KSEF. And then once you upload the document, you will actually receive the unique identifier, which is the confirmation that the document has been accepted. and only documents accepted by KSEF are the documents which are, let's say, compliant and which are the subject of the payment for your customer. Opposite way, you can expect that you will stop receiving, or all the PDFs that you will receive or emails that you will receive will be just on top of the information that your senders, your suppliers, your service provider will upload to KSEF, and you will have to download those documents from KSEF in order to pay those and in order to book those documents, which is very important. So on one hand, it looks very complex, but on the other hand, it allows all the companies and all the value chain, including accountants, including ERP providers, including payment providers, to really automate the process. So there will be no more manual work to translate the paper document or old school PDF document into the booking record, because everything will be structured. So you can automatically get the data from the document, from the invoice, and inject this data into your ERP or your accounting system. So this is really the big change and big opportunity for full end-to-end automation of the financial flows. And maybe one more thing to add. KSEF is already available as a let's say optional or voluntary solution. So we are already connected to KSEF and we are already testing with KSEF, being ready with our clients beginning of next year for the full 1 year end-to-end testing, just to be sure that everything is on the safe side. So basically the working model we have not only in Poland but within the Unified Post group is that we have group solutions which are actually benefit from many years of experience and hundreds, thousands of clients using those products on different markets. And the role of the global team together with the local team is actually to adapt the solution and ensure that the solution is fully compliant with the local regulations, with the Polish jurisdiction and the tax law. So this is mainly responsibility of the team we have in Poland. Secondly, as Marcus already said, being compliant, being connected to invoicing is not the one-time effort. This is something which will be changing over time. Let's take a look at JPK files and the long story of implementing and making it mandatory in Poland. So we can expect a lot of changes, improvements, modifications, and you need to have a partner. You need to have a solution which will be able to rapidly respond to those changes and to provide you with the always compliant solution. So this is not only the being connected, but it's also our role to maintain this connectivity, maintain this integration over time, especially what we call the baby care period, just after the launch of KSEF, where we can expect a lot of different or a little bit bigger changes, amendments on the KSEF site itself.
They all work on the same network, the same platform called CrossNet. So it's always possible to exchange documents between Banqup and Collect and Channel. But more than that, Channel&Collect also allow to invite your customers or suppliers to use Banqup if they don't have an existing solution yet. So based on different campaigns as a feature within both solutions, you could send your own invitations, create your own text for those invitations, etc. And based on a specific link, it will be possible then for those customers to click on a link and use Banqup as the tool to send or receive invoices from those two solutions.
Just let's imagine the company, which is Polish-based company, which is dealing or starting to deal with a client in Spain or Portugal or France, and they need to provide the invoices to those customers which are compliant with the local invoicing standard. So they are using Banqup, and the Banqup, because it's connected to CrossNet, can deliver those invoices in a proper format. So this is one of the scenarios. The second scenario, if you are a little bit mid-sized or large companies, and you are already connected to KSEF because you are using collect and channel solution, but you also want to be sure that your suppliers and service providers are also connected, and you can expect the proper invoices being delivered to you in a very automated way. So you can also provide the solution. You can also offer the solution towards those customers, or from your case, from your perspective, those suppliers, by offering them Banqup platform. So they can start using Banqup platform, and this is the way how we can help them to also be compliant if we are talking about the smaller companies.
Well, that obviously depends on different aspects, like number of transactions you have, number of invoices and documents, etc. But in general, based on the simplicity I explained earlier already, how quickly you can use those solutions, it also reflects on the savings you can achieve. So it might start just from 2 or 3 months that it already pays off. Maybe until a couple of months if you're a larger company, but certainly within 1 year, that investment should have paid off already.
Cost optimization is a very important topic, and a significant part of all the costs within almost every company is the labor cost. And unfortunately, or fortunately, this is not that you can really optimize, because it's rather the cost which is growing over time. So if we are able to automate the process, therefore we are able to keep the same number of people, the same headcount, and moving the people from the manual work, which can be automated, towards other tasks which actually create more value for your business. So this is also very important. Automation equal cost savings, equal better business efficiency, equal better preparation for the very dynamic and challenging business reality we are living in.
And maybe to give you a more concrete example, even for invoices, if you consider different studies, the cost to process one invoice varies between, let's say, 10 to 16, 17 euro per invoice. And that cost can, of course, really be reduced dramatically.